Look, you already probably know everything there is to know about the Hyundai Exter. Compact SUV sits under the venue in Hyundai's lineup. Hyundai's most important launch of 2023 for sure. What you don't know is it's the 7th edition of the Great India Drive and it's 50 years of Project Tiger, one of the world's most successful conservation activities. Welcome to the 2023 Great India Drive, where we're taking the Exter through South India to the Bandipur Tiger Reserve to understand more about Project Tiger and what it has achieved. Welcome to Evo India, and before we go ahead on this epic road trip, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the Evo India channel, and let me know in the comments below, if you had the Exter for a week, where would you take it on a road trip? Today's drive is an absolutely beautiful one. We started off in Coimbatore, we're heading up the Nilgiris into Ooty, and this is not the regular route. This is a different route. It's through a forest, absolutely beautiful. Some plantations here, but it's mostly forest cover. And our destination is Bandipur. Bandipur is one of the many sanctuaries around this area, and it has tigers, and that's why we're here. We're here to go tiger spotting. Tomorrow morning we're gonna head out into the forest on a safari, and if we're lucky, we'll spot a tiger. Now this year on the Great India Drive, we've got the Hyundai Exter. Last year it was the Tucson, Hyundai's biggest SUV, and this year it's the Exter, the smallest SUV. But I must say, it's a really enjoyable drive. There's a convoy of, I don't know how many of us, my rear view mirror is filled with Exters, and up these winding roads, it's a beautiful sight. We're in this lovely green color, suits this environment so well, and the car itself is actually quite nice. Funnily enough, this is the first time I'm driving the Exter. I wasn't there on the long drives, and we do have one in our long-term fleet, but I haven't gotten to driving it yet. But it's nice. It's nice to be in this car here. Yeah, so first impressions of the Exter, really nice. You know, getting out of Coimbatore, there's a lot of traffic. Some of the towns in the plains over here, very crowded, and the compact dimensions really make it easy to navigate through them. So for a city car, this should actually be quite nice. But now we're in the hills, and it's actually doing pretty well here. You've got to pull the engine a little harder on these slopes, especially if you want to make an overtake. You do need to wring it out. This is a nat-asp engine after all. But that aside, ride quality, space, comfort, we've got 3 people plus luggage in this car right now, and everybody is mighty comfortable. Now from here, we're going to go to Ooty, quick lunch break, and then onwards towards Bandipur. Right after Ooty, we've climbed down the hills and now we're in the forest. First, we hit the Mudumalai Tiger Reserve, which is in Tamil Nadu. And you can see, I mean, you've got to enter the forest gate and all of that. And once you're inside, it's unbelievable. It's just forest land with a road through it. Very strict rules here about stopping because there are wild animals around. Elephants are very common, leopards are common, and of course this is a tiger reserve, so I mean, you might spot some tigers, but the tiger is a little elusive, probably not too visible around the roads. But you probably saw that viral social media video of the tiger crossing the road with all the locals around it on bikes. That was here, you know, that was it at Mudumalai. Traffic, well, it's a lot more than I thought it would be. This is the main way to go from, say, Mysore towards Ooty, and therefore there is a lot of traffic on this road. But you can see a fair few animals. You know, we saw a lot of deer on the side of the road, spotted deer. There were a lot of monkeys. Earlier we even saw the Nilgiri langur, which is a black langur, not a white langur. So really cool stuff. Interesting to see all these animals out here. Soon enough, we crossed over into Karnataka. So at some point you hit the Tamil Nadu Karnataka border. That's a hard border. Get into Karnataka, and there starts the Bandipur Tiger Reserve. Now, the forest is essentially the same forest, right? It's just an arbitrary boundary drawn by us, that Tamil Nadu Karnataka boundary. So the animals around here probably roam all over the place. But now we're in Karnataka. This is the Bandipur Tiger Reserve. And yeah, the landscape hasn't changed. The road has changed a little bit. But that aside, what a beautiful place. The sun is going down behind the mountains. The trees, they look spectacular. The air is so fresh. You know, I think I'm just gonna put my windows down, put the AC off, just take in this fresh air. Right before this, I was in Delhi in that smog, and it was horrendous. And this is a proper detox. It's been exceptional on this trip. Something you need for wildlife spotting is a quiet petrol engine, and this Kappa engine, it is exactly that. You know, it's so quiet when you're not revving it out, so smooth, and you can creep up really close to the deer like I was doing just now, and it doesn't spook them. And it's a compact car. It's got good ride. You know, this is a reasonably long journey we did today. It's 6 to 7 hours on the road just driving. And normally in these small cars you tend to feel tired, but not in the Exter. You know, the Exter's kept us reasonably comfortable. It's a decent car to do long distances. The good ground clearance means you don't have to worry about bad roads, of which there were a fair few today. I was surprised. Normally Karnataka and Tamil Nadu have good roads, but it's a good car to head out to explore the country because it is ideal for our conditions. Small, compact, frugal, and with ground clearance. So really impressed with this little car. And I also love the fact that they gave us a manual. It just made the drive so much more engaging, so much more fun. Private vehicles are not allowed inside national parks and sanctuaries, which is why we could not take the Exter into the park. Instead, we took a safari and explored the premises. It's a surreal experience to drive in there, cut off completely from civilization, exploring the natural wonders of our country. We saw a number of critters and animals, a lot of insects, butterflies, giant spiders, langurs, mongooses. We even saw big animals like deer, but we did not spot the elusive tiger. So Sarat, 50 years since Project Tiger began, why did it even have to come into existence?
Very interesting question. So around the turn of the century, 1900 that is, we realized that our wildlife, we are losing it rapidly because of hunting initially, trophy hunting by the Rajas and the British officers and all that. But actually that took a much deeper turn around independence time. So after 1950 to about 70, even the common man can walk into a forest and kill a tiger. In fact, the government encouraged in some of the states to get rid of tigers because we are fast expanding our agricultural land, and the population was rising. So we had a big crisis situation when it came to wildlife. So some of the visionary officers of then India, including some forest officers and bureaucrats, they brought up the issue and they took it to the Prime Minister, then Mrs. Indira Gandhi, who really took it up and gave it a great leadership because she herself was an animal lover and lover of wildlife. So then Wildlife Protection Act first came in 1972 and quickly followed by Project Tiger. Wildlife Protection Act itself has banned all hunting, and Project Tiger put focus on the animal tiger. So 9 tiger reserves were declared, including where we are standing now, Bandipur, and the rest were in other parts of India. And then it went through its own flow, and we had some a period where there was a crisis. We lost some tigers in Hariska and Panna. There was a poaching which really came up big time from China, that side, Tibet, and then we had some course correction, put it back on the course again, and we introduced scientific methods of estimating tigers by camera traps and other methods, and a lot of funds were diverted to Project Tiger, and more area was declared under Project Tiger. Today we have 54 tiger reserves covering an area of 75,000 square kilometers. Okay. So by the time it hit the 50th anniversary, that is this year, 2023, we can proudly say that we have managed to save our habitat for tigers and tigers themselves, because ultimately numbers matter. Yeah. So we are close to now about 3,800 tigers, down from about 1,400 in 20 years back.
And 50 years are done. what do the next couple of years for Project Tiger look like?
Yeah, interesting question again, because you're right, we shouldn't be sitting on our laurels and say that, yeah, we have done a great job, because the next, let's say, decade also has different challenges, including the challenge of climate change. A lot of things are changing. We are not getting the stable rainfall patterns what we had, so we don't know how to deal with that particular issue. Then we also have a big issue of how to deal with corridors between tiger reserves. We have three major landscapes. Where we are standing now is one of the best, that is Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve. Then we have in central India called the Satpura Mica landscape, which has Satpura, Park, Kana and Pench. And then we have the Himalayas. We have a landscape called the Terai Arc, which covers Dudhwa, Corbett and Rajaji. Except for these three, rest of them are all cutaway or isolated habitats like Bandipur, Ranthambore, wherever. So we need to create corridors, and that's the biggest challenge for the Project Tiger or the conservation of tiger in the next 10 years or so.
Perfect. I wish you all the best. Thank you so much for everything you're doing for the tigers.
Absolute pleasure.
Right, that's it for this episode of the Great India Drive. This is not the end of the story. There is going to be a part 2 where we take the Exter somewhere really cool, tiger related, because we're still celebrating 50 years of Project Tiger. Make sure you subscribe to Evo India, hit that bell icon so when part 2 drops, you'll be notified.